We're live there. Okay, things are happening. Very cool. I can't get enough of this little intro. I play it all the time if I could. It just makes me feel good. Whatever. It's music. Music is good. Oh, audio. Got to plug in for the Instagram, folks. Hang on a second. You know, I turned on the box, but I didn't actually plug it in. Now you can hear the music too. Let me know in the comments if you can hear what we are, what we're playing. Can you hear the music? All right, cool. Hope you're doing well on this magical Friday. We have a show for you. It's the same show every day. Well, it's not the same show, but it is the show, and it's Black Friday. There's sales, people. I want to know what you're buying. Are you selling something? Buying, selling, whatever you're doing on Black Friday. I want to know what the deals are. We care about deals. If you are watching and have no idea who I am, and that's possible, these things happen. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. This is Ask a Traffic Up, a show all about you. It is truly a show about you. Why? Because if you don't ask questions, we don't have anything to talk about except for the stuff that I want to talk about. You may not want to talk about what I want to talk about. So do me a favor, ask questions, put it in the Q&A section of either Instagram Live or TikTok Live. TikTok's where it's at. Of course, we are also broadcasting on what are we on? YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're even on Twitter, but Twitter doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I mean that in that you can see me, and I can't see anybody, but you can see me, but you can't ask us questions. It just doesn't function. We'll talk to Elon Musk about that later, if he answers my call. But we have good morning messages. We'll be doing a poll today. Q wants to know if we're doing a poll. I don't know if we're doing a poll. I haven't gotten that far yet. Big Jeff Fresh with a happy FryYay. And then we have Jacob with a good morning. Greetings and salutations from Akela. Akela heard the music. Let's see here. We have Akela warning us that he has to leave at 10:30, and Jacob hopes I get. He's hoping that I get a jump on those sales. Apparently, there's nobody lining up at stores today, and that generally happens on Black Friday, but not today. Not according to the news. And I wonder what that means. I don't know if it means anything. What does it mean to you? To me, it means I don't need to buy anything. There's nothing I'm really looking for. I've been perusing the deals. I'm on Amazon. I'm on the apps and checking it out. But I'm like, I have everything I need. And I bought some stuff yesterday because I needed it, not because it was on sale. So what do you do? What do you do? My wife wants to know if I am, or what I'm drinking. A good sergeant brought in a take 10 of coffee, so I'm having some cold coffee with cream in it. Yeah. What's this? We got this. We got this. We got questions. Let's go into the questions. Q&A. What's everybody doing on Friday? That's what I want to know. We have Josiah who says, good morning, Officer Shapiro. How are you? I am doing well. I cannot complain. I already see some messages coming in on Volley. That's a good thing. Volley, if you don't know what that is a platform that allows asynchronous communication. You can ask questions. You can answer questions. Good morning, sir. We just went live. The acting superintendent of traffic services just came in to see what's cooking. So we are answering your questions. You got to drop them in the box so that we can get to them. But we're talking about anything traffic related. Actually, we're talking about anything because we're also recruiting. The Toronto Police Service is currently hiring. If you're interested in joining the Toronto Police Service, a career in policing, you can go to tps.ca/careers, and there you can get all the information you ever wanted to know and more about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. We have, what is this here? It means big yellow. What is it? I love being here for It means the big online yellow smile place is busy. Trust me. Yes, that online ordering is a thing. All right. We have, what are some specific laws you think shouldn't be? I don't know if I have laws that I don't, there's no laws that I'm really aware of that are problematic. But bring some up, we can talk about them. But I can't think of going through a list of things that just bother me. I think most of and I talk about traffic laws in particular, the traffic laws, they seem to work. They seem to work. We have a LinkedIn user saying, hey, Sean, wishing you a happy Friday. School is going well. I'm in such a good mood. Yeah. Apparently this unknown private user is having a good time. That's good. Passenger not wearing a seatbelt, demerit points. So I don't think a passenger can get demerit points. I think you have to be driving, and you don't have to, as a passenger, provide a driver's license. But the charge would make you eligible for demerit points. So it's a really good question. It's the courts that apply the points. So if you never surrendered a driver's license but were identified, because you don't have to have a driver's license, but if you gave ID and did not give your driver's license, you probably wouldn't get points. It's possible that the courts could give you points, but I don't know if that's something they would do. So, yes, if you are 16 and over and you're not wearing your seatbelt, you get a ticket. If you're under 16, the driver gets the ticket. That's not good. Hey, before we go too much further with questions, and they are magical questions, they are, I want to talk to you quickly about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. It being the 25th of November, we have magical officers who spend time in different areas of the city. Today, they are in 14 Division and 33 Division. And if you don't know where that is or what those areas of divisions carry, it's Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, Parkwoods, Donalda, Baby Village, York Mills. Those are the neighborhoods that they're spending time in. They're good neighborhoods. They're people who live in those neighborhoods who want to be safe. They deserve to be safe. So we'd ask that you follow the law. The truth is, we would ask you to follow the law wherever you are driving. Those laws were designed to keep people safe, to reduce serious injury and fatalities on our roads. We're trying to protect all road users. So that's drivers, riders, those people who are on motorcycles, the riders who are on bicycles, e-bikes, pedestrians, everybody on the road. We want them all to arrive alive, not just because the don't drink and drive business, which is also a problem. We want them to arrive alive because people are making good, safe decisions when they're behind the wheel of a motor vehicle. Do you have to let TTC buses in? There is a sign on the back of the TTC bus that says you must yield, and you must yield because if you don't, you can be charged. There is a law there. Why do cops love coffee and donuts so much? Steve wants to know. I think everyone loves donuts. I don't think it's a donut exclusive to police officer thing. I mean, historically, the only thing open in the middle of the night in cities and towns that used to roll up the streets at 10 o'clock at night, the only thing open was coffee shops. So that's where they got their food. And it also worked out because they were also targets of violence and robbery. So those shops liked having police around. So very often that's where they got together. And I guess we developed a liking for it. I like chicken wings more than donuts, but I won't turn away a good donut. My favorites being Krispy Kreme, in particular raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme. But, just saying. Generally, I can avoid donuts, except for the one that was given to me this morning. Yes, I kind of like the apple fritter. I would have taken the sour cream, but a particular sergeant who bought the donuts took that donut. It is the best donut that is available from a particular manufacturer of donuts that may start with a T. What is this? If I outdrive the police, can they pin me at home? Yes. If outdrive, do you think that's possible?
Well, is it downhill? I think he should come on the show.
I think this is. I think you need to be on the show. Absolutely.
It's easy. You know, downhill.
We're going to have a guest.
Yes, we are.
You don't have to be on camera. You can be on camera if you like.
I have a better face for radio.
Okay, then have a seat. You can have. Well, we're all ready to go. You can have a microphone. They won't see you on TikTok, but they will see you on YouTube if you stand back there.
Okay, there's that for you.
What do I have
This
to say?
going.
All right.
Okay, we're getting the boss on.
Uh-oh.
Even a couple minutes.
Done.
Okay, let me know when you're ready, and I'll put the microphone on. We're not. I can move over. Which way do I move?
Ready.
Okay, you are live. They can hear you. So they want to know if you outdrive the police, can you be pinned or arrested at home?
Well, that's a question that kind of answers itself. I mean, who in their right mind wants to outdrive the police? If the police want to stop and talk to you or pull you over, then you've answered your own question. If
Yeah.
we don't catch you today, we'll catch you tomorrow. But it's all also about public safety. You have to remember that when you're out driving the police, what you're also doing is putting yourself at risk and others at risk. And is weather a factor? And is the amount of people in the area? Are there cyclists around? There's a lot of things to think about. I think it's better to stop and have that conversation. Remember, it doesn't mean you're going to get a ticket, but it does mean very often that they may have a very meaningful conversation with you.
Yes. And at the end of the day, it's all about public safety. So we're not trying to engage people in doing things that are dangerous. So if you're planning on running away, the best thing for us to do is meet you at your house and arrest you. Why put others at risk in the process?
This is true.
What is this? Is loud aftermarket exhaust systems illegal?
I was waiting for that question. I knew if I came on the show, that was going to come on.
Someone
So
was going to ask about it.
it might have been a family member of mine. I won't lie.
The deal is that if you're making unnecessary noise, regardless of it's coming out of your exhaust, it could be your stereo, it could be your horn. If it's unnecessary noise that isn't required for the safe operation of your vehicle, yeah, you can get a ticket for it. It's $110.
And that will bring the volume down.
Yes, it really does mess with people's vibe. What do you think about digital driver's licenses for ID? Mark wants to know.
Digital drivers. Well, that's... You're talking about the whole identification process? Is that what they're talking about?
Well, yesterday we put up a video saying that if you forget your driver's license at home and you're driving, you can get a ticket for $110 for failing to surrender. So people said, can I just show you a picture on my phone?
So that's a good question. So there are other ways to identify yourself, and if the police if you can identify yourself in such a manner that they can be reasonably assured that the person that they're looking at and talking to is the person who they are presenting to be, then that's a conversation you can have. But you raise a really interesting point when we talk about that, because that all feeds into where our service is going with innovation. And
I know that last year the Premier was saying that they were going to have digital ID finished for the province by December. That's a year ago now. It hasn't happened.
Yep.
I know it's a very complicated project because security and privacy are the major factors. They want to protect everyone in Ontario before they roll this out and ensure that it's secure.
well, I think the expression that we often use in policing, or I use anyway, in policing when we talk about innovation is, I think you need to aim for the Jetsons.
Oh, I want a spaceship.
Today, on our budget?
Maybe not on our budget, but I certainly want the robot to make me breakfast.
Well, there you go. I aim for the Jetsons every time we talk innovation. So, and to our viewers that don't know who the Jetsons are, that's definitely something you might want to...
Googly goo.
Yeah.
Is it Na Evo wants to know? Is it not evil, like not evil? I don't know what you're... I always find it very interesting, these usernames. Wants to know if accident driving my friend's car, am I covered? So if you're a licensed Ontario driver who's licensed for the appropriate vehicle that you're operating, and that vehicle is insured, then you would be covered unless you are prohibited from driving by either suspension or if the insurance company says, you know, Na Evo can't be in that car because they've specifically listed you as someone they don't want driving. And that can happen. They could say people under a certain age can't drive the vehicle, or you could say someone who lives with you that isn't insured can't drive the vehicle unless they're named specifically. So you need to have a specific conversation with insurance companies that's outside of our realm and in terms of whether the insurance will be covered. And then are you legally permitted to drive? And yes, if you're a licensed driver, not under suspension, you can drive any vehicle that's you've been given permission to drive. It's one of those really rabbit-hole-y conversations. Do police give beautiful women tickets? That's a loaded question. We give everyone tickets, at least I do.
Wait, there's more to that answer.
There is?
Of course.
I'll let you take over.
Okay. That's a funny question because we, like Sean says, yes, we absolutely give tickets to everybody. So beauty never really factors into it. There is one exception. My wife. I could not give my wife a ticket. And she's beautiful. So there you go. Maybe I'm a bad policeman, but I could not give her a ticket. So I will give my wife a warning today. Okay.
I will clip this so you can send it to her as proof. Okay. Question of what is the decibel limit on cars for the specific charge of unnecessary noise? It's not a decibel limit. If you're talking about the what's required for certification or for installation, what's legal, 74 decibels according to our mechanic friends for cars, and we have a bylaw in the City of Toronto for motorcycles specifically 92 decibels at idle. If you are idling above that, you can get a $500 ticket. Different requirements to lay that charge. It's specific to motorcycles and requires a decibel meter.
Can I put a public service message out before I run?
Please.
So my public service message is this. I know it's we haven't quite hit December yet, but this is ride season. And I really want everyone to be very cognizant and aware that as ride season happens and there's more parties and more social events, as the bars fill up with World Cup and the Maple Leafs and every other event that's going on, we absolutely at Toronto Police want you to take every advantage and have the greatest time and a relaxing and fun holiday as we head into it. But the other half of my message is that it's we all of us have a responsibility to look after each other. That's my message. My message is, don't drink and drive. About making sure that you've got a proper way home. My message to you is today on this date, is please look left and right and look after each other, and don't leave a friend behind who is going to put themselves in a situation where they could be hurt or they can hurt someone else. Again, and I'm going to say it again, please look left and right and don't leave a friend behind. Look after each other. We have that right. We have that obligation. That's why we call them friends. And it's everybody does a small thing, and it contributes greatly to public safety over the festive holidays. So
you make a really good point about the left and right and not leaving a friend behind.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about drinking and driving or being impaired when you operate a vehicle. It's about literally somebody could be in the middle of winter, stumbling off on their own, falling into a snowbank and dying. It's more than just traffic advice we're talking about. We're talking about really being there for your family.
Yeah, Sean, and we talk about that a lot. We talk about sort of our obligation as citizens, as human beings, and I think it really stems down to that. It really is an obligation that we have to each other in this planet. These are tough times, absolutely, but over the holiday season, we have to step up our game just a little bit and be a little bit more aware and sensitive, and make that extra effort to look after each other. And on behalf of the Toronto Police, there's nothing nicer when we get calls for service sometimes, and we find that someone has stepped in to help somebody else, and now we have to do our part as well. So we all have a role to play, is what I was looking for as I stumble through my coffee. So
no, the coffee is good, and so are the words. And I got to jump on and say that there are amazing people in our communities who stand up and help others in need on a regular basis, whether they volunteer or they step up in times of emergencies and catastrophe. There are people who make themselves known, who really stand up and are recognized, whether they're recognized or not, because not everyone stands around to take credit, but they do amazing things. And there's opportunities everywhere to help someone.
Guardians of safety, angels of safety, they absolutely are. I'm going to excuse myself so I can go back and fight crime.
Okay.
So, but thank you, everybody, and keep the questions coming in, because we love to hear Sean contributing on behalf of everybody here at Traffic Services with the Toronto Police.
And thanks for making your first appearance. This is awesome. We can put this in the calendar that you made it on this year. I thought it was going to be next year, but it's good. He's coming back. All right, and we continue. We have... and my wife says, "What a beautiful message, sir. Thank you for that." That's from my wife. Okay. Good morning, Sean. Just came in to see who the mystery voice is. That was Acting Superintendent Matt Moyer. He is the big boss here at Traffic Services, and we are honored to have him join us. We've been talking about having him on the show, and then he surprised us. It was awesome. I like the unplanned events. Chase has a message that he sent this morning. Let me turn up my volume on my phone so I can play it for you.
Are you still breaking laws if you have 5% tint on your front two windows, but you only roll them up on private property? So you drive on the public street with them rolled down, like if it's a convertible or something, you just keep them down. And can an officer ask you to roll them up at a traffic stop to check them?
Okay, very interesting question. Oh, okay. So what Chase has a bank of amazing random questions. So the question is, if you have 5% tint, which would be illegal, which would be unsafe, and we could pull your license plates for, but you only rolled them up when you were on private property, thus never actually driving on the road with them, could you be charged? You know what? I don't know. I don't know because you haven't driven with them, and I'm reluctant to say that it's an absolute, because you might have a defense there. But here's the but, and it's a big but. I said it online. If you have it installed on your vehicle, it is not reasonable, or it is reasonable to believe that you would at times roll it up, even if we didn't witness you doing it. And I think that in that particular situation, we would be able to lay the charge or take your plates if we were to see it, or conduct an inspection, because your vehicle wouldn't pass inspection if we saw it there. So if we conducted an inspection and said, put your windows up, because that may be part of the inspection, I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here. I'd have to talk to somebody who does inspections. But I think you would be eligible for a ticket. You wouldn't, however, be eligible for the other HTA ticket. So unsafe vehicle, I think you'd be eligible. Chances are we'd never stop you and say, roll up your windows just to test. We'd probably see you with the windows because we would have had a reason to pull you over in the first place. But that, I digress. We're trying to be specific to your question. But if you go to the other side, obscure interior of motor vehicle, if your windows are down, you're not obscuring anything. Thus, I wouldn't be able to lay the charge. Why would I even have that question? So from a mechanical investigation, I think we could lay the charge. probably wouldn't go there. But for the regular HTA, I don't think it would be an issue. I hope that answers your question, Chase. Thank you for the opportunity to squirrel and go into strange questions. Okay, what do we have here? We got Big Bubs talking to Q. We got a Kayla Dracona saying, hey, Matt, you should talk to Roger about doing this show at the TMC at Alamos. Okay, that's he didn't see that message. I'll pass it along. Ryan Pinn says, a year later, and I'm putting up my Christmas lights during the live. Okay. And do not get into a car with someone who has been drinking. Also a Ryan Pinn message. By the way, Ryan Pinn is a driving instructor from Nova Scotia who's currently in Nova Scotia putting up Christmas lights. Are you putting up decorations? Is it officially time? It's not December. Do you have to wait for December? I want to know. Let me know if you're putting up the festive stuff yet. Can motorcycles split lanes in Ontario? The answer is no. It's against the law. It's careless driving. Could be dangerous driving. Splitting lanes is not a safe practice. It's legal in some countries. But even in the countries or states that it's legal, there are very, very bright and messaging. I say bright, not in color, not in glow, but they're very focused on telling you it's dangerous. And speed differential is the biggest issue. But have you paid attention to how bad the drivers are here? I'm not trying to knock everybody, but there are some really bad drivers here. And I know because I see them every day on my way into work, on my way back. And yeah, so I wouldn't want to do it even if it was legal. And if it was legal, I wouldn't do it. Is that circular enough for everybody? I wouldn't do it. I have done it as a police officer carrying out my duties where I'm required to do certain things. I've lane split, and it's nervousness making. It's not a good thing. You don't feel safe when people who are in front of you on their phones weaving in and out of traffic and carrying on at speed. You could be taking your life by your choices. Thoughts? What is this? Oh, silliness. People are asking me questions that are political. I don't do politics. What's the best rank in policing in your opinion? I'm told sergeant is the best rank. I don't know that to be true because I am not one. I was a supervisor in courts. I was a supervisor in auxiliary, so I was an auxiliary sergeant. But I don't think that's a fair. I can't make the assertion that it's the best rank because it was volunteer and not the same. But I'm told sergeant is. I'd have to talk to those people and get them to vouch independently because I imagine everyone would say that the rank that they're in is probably the best. I think PC is the best because that's what I am. Okay, is it legal to have window bars center divide? Window bars center. I don't know what that means. Do you mean like police barriers and whatnot? I think that if you don't have the support system, if you're talking about having police bars on windows, I think if you don't have the support system to ensure that the people who are inside get out, it's a bad day in the event of a collision. But I'm not entirely sure what we're talking about, so I don't want to give you a definitive answer. But maybe, Logan, you can rephrase and we can get to what you're getting at. Okay. True. Oh, is it true that pedestrians should not cross on a countdown? You should not enter the intersection on a countdown. It is solely to let people know how much time they have to get out. People who have mobility issues need to know how much time and how much energy to put into getting out for their safety. But it's true that you shouldn't enter because that countdown starts on a flashing hand. Flashing hand means you should not be entering. And what do we have here? Thoughts on, no, that's politics. Don't go there. Can I drive a lifted pickup with hockey pucks? You mean, what? Do you have hockey pucks in the truck or is that some kind of, low, cheap version of lifting things? I would assume if hockey pucks to lift the body, safe thing. I couldn't say I'm not a mechanic, but I would assume that that's not safe. And if I would assume it, then apply our CVSI guys and people who would be there to inspect your vehicle if we thought there was an issue would probably say it was unsafe for the road. But I don't know. I just don't know. So Logan follows up with winder bars and center divider in the rear. I've seen dividers for animals that just sort of plug in. Just know that anything that isn't properly secured could become a projectile in the event of collision. And if you have passengers in there and you've now put them in a situation where they cannot get out of the vehicle in the event of a collision, they're trapped or emergency services take longer, you could be setting someone up for failure. In a police vehicle where we have dividers, not only do we have the support system and access to tools and skilled personnel to remove the person in the event of a collision where they could become trapped, there's a reason for it. It's for our safety and for everyone else's safety. If you're talking about doing it because you just want to do it, I don't know what the motivation would be. So again, reluctant to tell you whether it's legal or illegal. I have some concerns about it though. All right, but enough about that. Let's see. Run stop sign, hit a house. What is charges, please? Well, for running the stop signs, failed to stop, could be careless or dangerous, depends on what's going on. Hitting the house, hitting a house isn't a specific charge, but careless driving, losing control, those kind of things. Now, usually when people run a stop sign and hit a house, it's likely because they're impaired by drugs or alcohol, but I don't know what charges are laid because I have not investigated. So I'm speculating and giving you very general answers on that. I got my question answered about the permit parking pass. Stephen, tell me what you're talking about because I don't remember every conversation, so I can't comment on the comment. But I'm glad that you got your question answered. Who gave it to you? Who answered? What is this? Is it legal for Emerge to put on siren and go through stop? Do you mean red light? Because stop signs are stop signs. We don't need to put lights and sirens on to go through unless we're just telling everybody that we're taking priority and going out of sequence, at which point we would want to put our lights and sirens on so everybody else is required to stop. If you're talking about approaching a red light and we don't have our lights and sirens on, can we turn them on to go through that red light? Yes, that's actually what's required under the Highway Traffic Act in order for us to go through that red light. Now, we still are obligated to stop and ensure it's safe to proceed, but we turn on our lights and sirens, go through the lights, and we can turn them off again. And that really seems to bother people. People see that and believe, for one reason or another, that is wrong. It is not wrong. It is what's required under the HTA. All righty then. What do we have here? Woman. What is this, woman? Oh, yeah. So Michael, so earlier on somebody asked if we give beautiful women tickets. I said we give everyone tickets. Michael sent in a joke. Woman says, I thought you don't give pretty women tickets. Police officer responds, right, sign here. That's horrible. and funny, but horrible. Jokes. We usually do dad jokes on Friday, but Sergeant Campbell's not here. What is this? Akela saying, child, because he's got to go. Have a great rerun. He's got to run to a meeting, so have a great weekend was his message. Thanks very much. If you want to send us messages, video, voice, or text to the Volley Space, it's a community group with 126 members of people who care. No, they just want to be able to have access when nobody else does. Should you go faster than the limit on the left lane? No, the limit is the limit, and you can't go above the limit. The left lane is simply for going faster than the people in the right lane. Slower traffic, those that are traveling below the speed limit, should be in the right lanes, and the left lane is reserved for people who are left lane going the speed limit. Faster than the speed limit, you have no authority to do that, so don't go over it. By the parking bylaw here in London. Okay, good. I know nothing about parking bylaws in London. I am not in London. Somebody has to go to the bathroom. They want to know if they can do things at the side of the road. That's problematic. I don't know the ins and outs of toilet use in the side of the room. I think if you're having a medical emergency, you do what you got to do, and if you get a ticket, you get a ticket. Somebody says they've committed multiple felonies. I assume they're in the States because felony is not a terminology used in Canada. Will you pull someone over for hogging the left lane? If they're not speeding, they're not hogging it. However, if someone is following too close and trying to speed, I'd very happily pull them over. I won't pull someone over for traveling at the speed limit. It's the speed limit. It's as fast as you're legally allowed to go. You can't hog it if you're going as fast as you're legally permitted to go, because if you do that, that's silly. If you walk on a highway, do you get arrested? So highway is any road in the province of Ontario. That's terminology for a road. Freeway, expressway, that refers to what most people talk about being a highway, referred to as a highway. And yeah, they're restricted access. So if you are on the expressway, on foot, on bicycle, not in a vehicle that's permitted there, you can be relocated and fined. Arrest is a strong word. I guess I wouldn't say arrest. We would fine you and remove you and then let you go. What are the rules about having underglow in Ontario? The rules are that there's no rules. There's no specific rules. There's other rules that govern everything else, and you might break those rules by having your underglow, because if it's poorly installed, like where the bulbs are visible anywhere, like other than pointing directly at the ground, and the light you see is only the bounce off the ground, I would say if the bulb is visible, it's illegal. If it's red, blue, or green and visible, it's a bigger problem, because those are specifically restricted colors. All right. Parents turned 80 last year. Do they need a test? Check with drivetest.ca because I don't know when the age kicks in. I don't. They're at a certain point when you renew, you'll be obligated to take a test. Maybe a vision test, might be a written test, might be I don't know what the stats are on that. I know that my grandfather, when he was driving till 93 or 94, and he was doing like annual testing. Bus lights and on emergency vehicles, do they, I only have the first portion of your question 3 times. Please don't spam. Please don't ask the same question multiple times. It makes it hard to get through, but I understand that there's a limitation on the amount of letters you can type. So I appreciate that you can't get your message through. Try and use acronyms, and I try and decode acronyms, and together we eventually manage to communicate. Can I wear a winter toque with a red-blue light on my plow with my quad on my property? On your property, you most certainly can. The red-blue light, why you'd want to do that, I don't know. But on your property, you can have blinky lights in whatever color you like. Off your property, you may not. That would be possibly a problem. Let's see here. Is it illegal to keep a hunting knife in your car? A hunting knife, you can transport a hunting knife. If you are keeping it there so you can stab people, it's a weapon that you're planning to use for self-defense, that could be a problem. It all depends on your use case. We have a no-name person who thinks they're funny when they claim they do 170 kilometers an hour in a school zone. I would arrest you any day of the week for that. Don't do that. Don't be stupid. Can you do a U-turn if there's a no left turn sign? Why would you do a U-turn? Oh, you want to do a U-turn into the intersection? Yeah, no, you can't do a U-turn where there's a no turn sign. It's also just, you have to know that whenever you do a U-turn, now it's not specifically listed as a U-turn, so I can see where the confusion would be. But should you do that, if you were to make a U-turn or a turn and cause a collision, you're going to get a ticket, and you're going to be the person responsible for causing that collision to occur. Get another volley. Melody. What is Melody saying? Melody says, I was hit by an oncoming car while completing a left turn on an advanced light. Why was I found at fault and charged with careless? I was taken directly to ER before police arrived. Quite frankly, you got charged because you were making a U-turn. And as a U-turn or a turning movement, you were a left turn. So, I mean, you could always challenge it. You had an advanced light, you were making a turn, but you are responsible to ensure you can make your turning movement in safety. So you have the advanced. That the other person should also be charged. If they ran a red light, they would be charged in addition to you being charged because you're responsible to ensure that you can complete your turning movement prior to starting it. And if you were wrong, you're still responsible. Now, is it a triable matter? Could you take that to court and defend yourself and say, hey, there was nothing there, the person ran a red light? Maybe you'd have a defense. I don't know. But we charge people for the offenses that they commit. And careless driving, if you do something that results in a collision, they would possibly argue that had you not turned, there would be no collision, despite the fact that somebody else ran a light. I don't know. Sadly, I didn't investigate that collision. So I don't know what other stuff that our conversation may not include. Not suggesting that you're avoiding including everything, but there may be things that you're unaware of that they were aware of. What is this? I got, here's a question from Chase again.
So we rented a U-Haul to help my cousin move, and the truck is registered in Arizona. Now, the insurance and registration documents they give you are on a website, and you download them as PDFs. Now, since I'm an Ontario driver and this vehicle is registered somewhere else, is that acceptable to show a PDF of registration and insurance? I'm guessing that's accepted there. Is that accepted?
Okay. I'm assuming they rented a U-Haul. Every U-Haul is supposed to be registered, or apparently is registered in Arizona. It's the cheapest way. They have very unique laws that allow them to do what they do. In any case, yes, you can bring a PDF printed proof of insurance. It's like a rental contract, same thing. You can provide that. It is accepted. If they gave you an app that allowed you to provide it by way of app, that would be acceptable. And the Arizona thing is something we're aware of. Now, if you're taking an Arizona car that belongs to your friend and driving it around here, that's different. You can't do that as a Canadian. A rental vehicle, separate rules. Privately owned vehicle, separate rules. So if you borrow your mom's car who's visiting from Arizona and you get into a collision, and it's believed that you are driving this car in an extended period of time in Canada and that the appropriate taxes have not been collected on it, that vehicle can be seized by the RCMP under the I can't remember the act, but it's based on taxes, paying appropriate taxes and importation. That vehicle would be seized. Then you'd be the owner would be charged a ridiculous amount of money. The reason I say this is that I investigated someone who was driving their daughter's car, got into a collision. They've been driving that car since 2012. It was 2014. It was an expensive car. They had this wonderful notarized letter that said, I, the owner, allow my dad to drive this car in Ontario, and it was notarized. And based on all that, we believed that the car had been here for a long time, which it had. And the RCMP gave us direction to seize that vehicle because they were using it as a daily driver in Ontario. And the RCMP had told me in a conversation that you just can't use motor vehicles. I mean, you can't use American vehicles here. It's for that reason. They said even if you were driving to the corner store, technically it would be an issue. Like if your mom parked behind your car and you didn't want to. Anyway, don't do it. Can you guys stop a streetcar? Yes. It's still a vehicle, a conveyance. What is this? Girls? I don't know what that is. Random weird question just popped up. Let's see here. Is it illegal to drive with one hand? No. Some people only have one hand. It's not illegal to drive with one hand. No hands would be an issue. That would be a careless driving charge. Boop the snoot. This is getting weird. Snoot, poop. I don't know. If you hit the screen, if you double tap, if you tap until your fingers go numb, it shows the algorithm that you like us. It gives likes to the live. We've got 5.8 thousand likes so far, and we're not done yet. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I go live on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. I figure I should tell you who I am in case you're new to the live. If you don't already follow us, please do. We love when people follow us. We don't get money for it. We don't get anything for it, but it does show that we're doing something that's connecting with people, that you see value in it. And if I don't see 264 new follows, I know that many of you are returning. And if there are people who don't already know us, then welcome. We do this all the time, Monday to Friday. Today is FryYay. It's the celebratory episode where we look forward to going into the weekend. Impaired driving, as the acting superintendent had mentioned a little while ago, it's a big problem. It's something that we should not be doing, not just because we've been saying the same thing since I was born and probably for 100 years before that, but alcohol or drugs don't mix with motor vehicles. People get hurt. People die. We see it all the time. We arrested. Well, let me look it up here. How many did we arrest last weekend? I think I have to do a video for this. It is TPS Traffic DC. That's my buddy, Scott Matthews, and he puts up the stats every weekend. So, 25 arrested, plus 9 who had suspensions for warrants. So what does that mean? 25 people were arrested for having 80 or over in their blood. That's a BAC of a 0.08 or above. That's criminal. That's go to jail. That's get arrested, handcuffs, further testing, lose your license for 90 days. That's a bad day at the office. Not only because it costs on average $15,000 to $30,000 to defend the charge. If you're going to defend, I don't know how you defend doing the wrong thing, but whatever. It's one of the most litigated charges in the criminal code. It's a problem. It's a problem because someone who gets behind the wheel of a motor vehicle could kill somebody, could take out an entire family. We've seen it. Not okay. So 25 people who were over the legal limit. Then we had 9 people who were suspended because their range, their result was 0.05 to 0.079. That is within the range that is going to get you a 3-day suspension, and if you get another one within 10 years, you get a higher suspension, and it just keeps going. You have to take courses. People who are getting these things and getting behind the wheel are making very, very poor decisions. Kyle Hawking, hey, how you doing? He's coming from YouTube, says, happy Friday, Sean. A question related to the Arizona topic. Is a vehicle brought over from England or Australia with the steering wheel on the opposite side legal to be driven in Ontario? Fantastic question. If it's over 15 years old, it falls into a different category. You don't have to convert it to be the standard in Ontario, so you can keep it with the right-hand drive business. And if you are driving it and it's a modern vehicle, it has functioning signals, that's no problem. The issue becomes if if it's a classic car with no functioning signal lights for left and right, then you have to have a placard on the back that says right-hand vehicle. The reason being, it needs to, you need to tell the driver behind you which window to look at for the hand signals, because you still have to signal your intention to change direction or change lanes or what have you. We did this blocking this person. I love people who have an affinity for using, there we go, an affinity for using emojis to one person just told that they were using eggs and pig snouts. I'm assuming that they are people who like to eat eggs and bacon. I don't know. I think they're trying to be offensive, but it doesn't work. But it does cause them to get muted because it's just not cool. Not that they're hurting my feelings. It's just to take over the live, which I gave them already too much credit. So, Kyle, I hope I gave the answer that you were looking for. I'm always curious if it was what you were expecting or if it is contrary to what you were expecting, because so far our conversations have always been that my answer is not what you were expecting. So where did I fall this time? Is there a criminal speed in Canada? It's not about a specific speed, but there is a charge for dangerous driving, and that is a criminal offense. And when the chap earlier said they do 170 in a school zone, that is putting people in danger. That is knowingly, with intent, putting people in danger. Whether they intended to hurt people or they intended to do that speed in a manner, in an area that was likely to cause injury. So I would arrest them for dangerous driving, as opposed to stunt driving, which I would also charge them for, but I would actually go with the criminal charge in addition. So it's not a specific. It's based on the whole the holistic case. Everything we're looking at. What do we got here? Oh, a lot of people want to know about laws that I don't know about. If that I don't agree with. I don't have an issue with laws. My job is to enforce them, not to judge them in their efficacy, whether they're ethical or not. If they're on there and people who are lawmakers determine that that is appropriate, then they're enforceable. And that's what I do. Okay. Is it okay to go 220 in a school zone? Why is this person still talking? I didn't block them before. I'll block them now. Don't spam, please. What is the decibel limit for lawnmowers? I have no idea. At a four-way, can you make a right-turning lane? Can you make a right-turning lane? I'm not part of construction. Maybe you mean something else. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't make lanes. Kyle says, I've seen them on the road on occasion, so I figured they were probably legal, but I wasn't sure of the rules. Consider me informed. Awesome. I am glad. It's always interesting to get your take on things. Can a passenger have an open container but driver not drinking? No, you cannot have open alcohol in a vehicle, in a motor vehicle, not even if you're parked. You cannot. A lot of discussion about that because people want to know about limos. Can I drink in a limo? You cannot have open alcohol in a limo. What do we got? We got 18 minutes is what we got. I'm 21 with a G. What's the legal limit to drive? For you, 0. You cannot have any alcohol when you are 21 years old. You must be 22. You must be over 21. Not 21 in a day, but 22. And then you can have up to 0.049. But I have to tell you something. No alcohol is the only alcohol level that you should be driving with. The reason being is that when you have any alcohol in your system, and since I don't know you and I don't know what your way of dealing with alcohol is, you could be impaired well below the legal limit for even driving under the HTA. So you won't be suspended if you're driving at 0.049, but you could be impaired, at which point you can still be arrested. Impaired doesn't require a number. Impaired is you have alcohol in your system and you are impaired by that alcohol. Now, there is having too much alcohol based on blood alcohol content, it would be an additional charge. But your behavior could determine that you have too much alcohol. And alcohol of any level with drugs amplifies that, and it just really is a recipe for disaster. So don't. Because drugs is a whole different situation. Having it in your system, if you're required to have 0, any drugs in your system is a problem. And if you are consuming any drugs, we can't determine. I can't. There are drug recognition experts who can determine what you've taken and how far gone you are. But it's impaired. If you don't value your own life, at least consider that you shouldn't be taking or be responsible for taking the lives of others who have families that care about them, who mean something to the community. You don't want to kill somebody else. And impaired driving really bothers me, and I don't want to get into a whole thing about it. It's enough that it really bothers me. People do so many things and destroy families and communities. And for what? Because they wanted to save money on a taxi. They didn't want to take a bus. It's not cool to take a bus. Maybe just don't drink and drive. Don't smoke and drive. Don't consume drugs or alcohol and get behind a motor vehicle of any kind. A conveyance of any kind. Doesn't matter if it's a boat, a canoe, if it's got a motor, if it's a bicycle. Just don't do things to get people hurt. That's it. Seen too many people die. Too many people. Okay. Laws against people who vape and drive. Big clouds. Well, obviously, if it's making it unsafe for you to drive, if you're obstructing your view by way of fogging your car, that's a charge. You could have an obstructed view by driver. That's a charge that I would lay. If you have anything that is illegal inside of that vape juice, that's a problem. That could be impaired driving or having drugs or alcohol. I guess there's no drugs in vaping, or no alcohol in vaping. I don't think there is, but it could be drugs in the vape juice. That would be a problem. But the big clouds, I've seen those big clouds. I know exactly what you're getting at. And it would be driver view obstructed, I believe. It could be careless driving. Food delivery people park in storefronts, not parking. They shouldn't. There's specific places where they could park or can park legally. In a no parking zone in front of a store is not one of them. And our parking enforcement officers are very happy to lay charges when that happens. Check out TPS_bike on TikTok and other platforms for all the wonderful videos of people getting hammered for that exact thing. There's no exemption for people to park in no parking zones, except in certain areas under certain conditions. And if you're a delivery driver, you ought to know what those are. You have the signs in your vehicle saying you're on a delivery. And even then, there's very specific conditions. If you're not interfering with traffic, can we jaywalk? The answer is jaywalking is not a charge in Ontario. It's a term that's usually in the States. And the answer is that if you're more than 50 meters from an intersection, I believe you are able to. But if you're within 50 meters of an intersection, you may not. It's a bylaw. Joining me now is Sergeant Kulik. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How's
Thought
it
I'd jump
going?
on for the last little bit of the show.
Yeah, you got like 3 minutes. You made a woo.
Woo!
Mind you, we can go long.
3 minutes.
Isn't it? Oh no, we got more.
10:47.
I was getting excited. I thought my day was over. I was going to go on vacation. So it's more. It's 13 minutes. Okay, 13 minutes matters. What's going on? What's new?
Not a whole lot. I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah.
A little relaxation time.
Anything Black Friday related? Are you shopping for anything?
I'd like to book a flight for my daughter to come home.
Oh, nice.
Visit. That's about it. But it doesn't seem like there's too much out there. The deals aren't that great. And I actually heard on the news this morning that they were saying the Best Buy downtown Toronto normally is lined out.
People sleeping outside.
And not so much this year.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I have nothing that I need to buy. I can buy stuff.
Well,
but
there's needs and wants.
No, but there's nothing that I'm looking for. Like I bought a new phone this year. I didn't think to wait for Black Friday to do it. I bought a watch when it came out because I wanted the new watch. I had a reason to, and it wasn't. I don't even think about this. Like I'll wait till December or November to buy something. I didn't even know when Black Friday is until like someone tells me.
I actually had to Google it the other day too. I wasn't sure it was this weekend or next, but happy Thanksgiving weekend to all those
Yes.
our American friends that are celebrating.
It is a magical time. It's weird that we have a different Thanksgiving, so it really messes with me because we do all of our stuff here with Thanksgiving, and then we have deja vu a very short period of time afterwards when we're saying the same
I
thing.
kind of like when ours is. It gives us that extra bit of time before Christmas because you're not doing big turkey dinners 2 months in a row. But hey.
Someone says lawnmowers are more noisy than motorcycles. No offenses. They're not motor vehicles, though. Lawnmowers are not motor vehicles being driven on the road, so they don't fall under the same rules. There would be an offense for using your lawnmower in the middle of the night based on noise bylaws, right? Like you can't use work equipment or anything like that.
Or if you're impaired.
No, but I mean a handheld mower.
Oh, handheld.
like a lawnmower or pushing a lawnmower, a riding lawnmower. That would be impaired driving if you're on private property. Trimble wants to know, why did I choose the traffic unit? Well, I'm just a traffic geek. I don't know what to tell you. I started as an auxiliary back in 2000 as a volunteer. I had my motorcycle license. I was recruited to come here because that's where the motorcycles are. And I wanted to ride a motorcycle. So I got my love for traffic began early. I was also a big fan of the show Chips, which was all about traffic officers with the California Highway Patrol being primarily traffic business. So I just always wanted to be a traffic man. I was born for this.
We all have our niche.
Yeah, it's true. What is this? How do I get a private sale car home first time? Well, get insurance before you try and do that. You have to have the vehicle insured. You can have it towed without insurance, but if you're going to drive it, it's got to have insurance on the vehicle. All that takes is a phone call to your insurance company, and they will send you proof of insurance, even if it's a temporary 3-day type of thing. And then you need to have either plates that are valid but not attached to any vehicle. So you have valid plates in your pocket, and you put them on, or you need to do the transaction at the MTO and get plates there. Like I would want to transfer to my name before I take it anywhere, so I'd have plates in my pocket.
I would say, to be on the safe side, take a visit to your local MTO and go into the office and find out exactly from them what forms, what you need to be legally.
Yeah, it's good to be prepared. But one of the things is the most important thing though is insurance. Insurance. You get caught driving a vehicle without a insurance, it's a $5,000 to $25,000 fine. You don't have to hit anything to qualify for that ticket, and you don't have to have a collision. It's just operating it on the road. Period. That is it.
And at the end of the day, God forbid something happens and you're uninsured, your life is changed forever because the lawsuits and everything that come out of that, because you don't have anything to back you. So insurance is there for a reason.
A friend of mine ran over somebody it was more complicated than that, but he was in a collision. He thought he was insured. He wasn't insured because it was fraud, and it wasn't him committing the fraud. The insurance company was taking their money and giving them fake slips. He was sued for like $250,000 and had to pay. Like it was a big deal. Changed his life. Will cops give tickets when you're 5 kilometers over on the highway? Some cops will. Do you want to risk finding out which ones? I might be many people get away with it all the time. Is it right? Is it still speeding? Yes, it's still speeding, and no, it's not right. You shouldn't be speeding. More often than not, on a highway with a speed limit of 100 kilometers an hour, it's unlikely that you'd be pulled over 5 kilometers an hour, but it's not impossible. So don't do it. What is the difference between a recruit and a cadet? So a recruit and a cadet are almost synonymous. A new recruit and a cadet, because they're conditional. It used to be that a cadet was actually an employee that could be that role for a long time, whereas a recruit was somebody who was at the police college, and that's sort of still the same.
I think some services still have a very specific cadet program. I believe Halton does, and it's for ages, like 21 to 24, something along those lines, and it's a 1-year sort of trial period and they're almost like a special constable, right? And they have different, skills and abilities that they learn, and then in hopes that you will become an officer.
It's the longest job interview ever.
Stone. Yeah. It's for the service to see what you're like, and also for you to test drive what it will be like.
It used to be a requirement in Ontario, and I don't know if it still is. I don't think it is, that you have to be 21 years old to carry a firearm. So when they were hiring people that were at the age of 18, they'd have to be cadets until they were 21 so they could carry.
Yeah.
And that's no longer the case. But there's a discussion about bringing back the cadet program here because, as you said, many services are doing that. I accidentally forgot my wallet in my house and drive to the gym, for example. Is that okay to have a copy of my driver's license on my cell phone? Is that legally permissible? Not legally permissible. You might get away with it. The officer might say, okay, it happens, don't do it again. They could use discretion. They could also issue a ticket for $110 for failing to surrender a license. It's not about showing me a picture of a card. It's about giving me the card upon demand.
Now, insurance, on the other hand, certain companies will allow you to have an electronic version as opposed to paper. But I know my insurance company does not subscribe to that. So, you have to make sure that yours is willing.
It could be an app that's certified by them, and they will allow. But again, mine doesn't do that either. So it's very annoying because I have to keep a very, very ratty pink slip in my wallet. I keep everything in my wallet. I don't put anything in my car. What is this? Can the OPP pull you over on city streets? Yes, because they're police officers, and police officers in Ontario have authority in Ontario, not just in on a highway or in a city. We can act and are obligated to act as police officers everywhere. What is this? What's the front window tint limit? 0. Zero. No tint on the.
Nada? Zilch?
Zilch.
Nothing.
Not a 9. You cannot have any. Now, if your vehicle is manufactured before 2017, being a 2016 or older, you can have 3 inches at the top of the window. It's called a sun strip, and that's permitted only for those older vehicles because they grandfathered those when they made the law in 2017 saying no more. So zero tint. If you have window tint on your windshield, expect to have your license plates seized because your vehicle is classified as unsafe. It's a fun day when that happens, I'm sure. Is the UK police uniform better? I didn't know that the UK have a single police uniform for the entire country, but we have totally different uniforms for every level of government, for every jurisdiction. Every patch is different. Like there's nothing that's the same. We're the least uniform people.
I know some of the UK do not carry firearms, so they're what we call our gun belt or our utility belt would look much different from theirs. I do believe that there are certain parts of London, maybe other areas that do carry firearms.
Well, they generally have gun teams, and they have many special constables that walk around and they are unarmed, and then they have gun teams and armed officers, and they do things differently. But many officers, more officers now have guns in the UK than they ever did before.
And I think most anywhere around the world, police uniforms will have a similar resemblance in that there will be a patch on it identifying you as a police officer. Probably your name or your rank would be on there. You'll have identifying police pants, like in Ontario for us. Mm-hmm. Most police constables will have the red stripe. However, the OPP has a blue stripe.
Yeah, special constables have blue stripes.
Yeah, so there's some identifying features that are similar worldwide. Interestingly,
do you know why special constables and court officers have blue stripes versus red stripes?
No.
Because the courts used to be operated provincially. They were the ones controlling the court security, so they continued with the blue stripe. Although many police services don't make blue stripes for their special constables, they have red stripes because it's just they have so few members in general. It doesn't make sense to bring in different different color coding for those. But yeah, it's yellow is federal, or blue is provincial, and red is municipal for stripe color. Things you probably never needed to know and now do. Is being a cop scary? I don't think so. I mean, there's scary days. There's times when things go crazy a little bit.
But you don't think about that at the time,
Not at all.
Right? We're here to do a job. We're here to keep our community safe. And sometimes we have to go into those really uncomfortable situations. But we go in there, we do the job. And sometimes afterwards, when you have time to reflect and say, oh my gosh, that could have happened, or wow, we were lucky. Mm-hmm. So those things might sit with you a little bit and you go, well, it might have been a bit scary. But at the time, you're there to do your job and you just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone broke someone's car like a bat, will he get arrested? Yeah. If you hit someone's car with a bat, expect to be arrested. It's obviously not legal. And it's funny, a lot of the laws, I would say many, or if not most of the laws, are really based in common sense. There's nothing that takes special training to understand that what you just did wasn't legal and is going to have a consequence. Just saying. What is the lowest a speed camera can clock you at? A speed above the speed limit. Of the specific, I don't actually know.
And I think each municipality probably has a different threshold.
They do.
Really.
They do. But we've never been told the specific number. We've been told random numbers. I've been told 3 or 4 different numbers. The truth is, you'll never need to know if you don't speed. And by telling you a speed, it invites you to speed right up until that number. So I'm never going to share it. Even if I don't know it, but even if I did know it, I wouldn't tell you. Na boo boo. I don't tell anybody. I don't know. I actually don't know the answer. We are going to have guests in December. Well, yeah, middle of December. I have guests from the automated speed enforcement team from the city of Toronto. They're the people who oversee the Toronto speed program and the Toronto red light program, and they will be able to talk about those things. And maybe they'll tell you, but I won't tell you.
And you can it's actually pretty cool. You can go on the City of Toronto website and you can look up and see every single location of a red light camera and a speed camera within the City of Toronto. So when you're out on your journey, you'll know, you shouldn't speed anywhere or run red lights anywhere, but you will know where they are located.
Yes. And you can even pull up certificates and see everything. Lots of information. What do you like the most about your current job? I like the fact that I get to help people. Although there's 249 people on TikTok, 247 people. It goes up and down. Sometimes we have 1,600 people in the room. Over a course of an hour, we've seen as high as 40,000 people. Those are people coming in, getting answers to their questions, and maybe, just maybe, we're saving them time, money, and maybe their lives. So being able to contribute this way and interact with you guys is really the best part of my job currently. I used to love being a motor officer, going out and interacting with people and making real change on the road every day. That was my dream job, and I loved it. Then I got hurt. And this has been my next best thing. I really do enjoy this, and I plan to do this for a long time, unless I can get back on a motorcycle. And then I'm sorry. Then you'll have to find somebody else to talk to you, because I'll be with the wind in my hair, the flowing locks, under the helmet. What is this? Is it illegal to have laser jammers on your car? What do you think? Just random guesses? No, it's not legal. Anything that interferes with the police's ability to not regulate, but monitor or record your speed, measure your speed. That's the word I was looking for, measure. If you interfere with it, whether it be by a jammer or a detector, you are committing an offense. And it's $170, 2 demerit points, and we have search and seizure authority. So if we come across a jammer on your vehicle, we get to pull out the screwdriver, or you could take out the screwdriver, but we can take that with us. We'll be seizing it. Search and seizure authority. So if you say, it's you can't search me, copper. Yeah, we can. We can check the entire vehicle and anyone inside that vehicle on the suspicion that you have it, for the belief that you have one. And it's pretty heavy duty authority that's given by the Highway Traffic Act in that particular regard. How long can a cell charge go on?
What do you mean?
What? I don't know. Change year. I don't know what we're talking about. Sunrise wants to know. Like, how long is this phone going to last while I'm broadcasting on it? Because I am broadcasting on a phone. I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, it's 11:01. I'm looking for some heavy-hitting questions here. Have you ever thought about teaching in an academic setting? I've been approached by a couple of colleges. They said, this would be great. We should, and I know that a couple of courses, whether it be driving schools and law enforcement, are playing the videos that we create here. So have I ever thought about it? I thought about teaching at the police college here. There's I like teaching. Monday, I'm going to Centennial College to present to people at Centennial College in the law enforcement program. So yes, I have thought about it. Am I leaving what I'm doing now to go do that? No. But in 10 years when I retire, talk to me. Who knows? Let's see here. That wasn't really heavy hitting, but it did catch my eye. What tips can you give me? I'm trying to apply as a cop. Best advice? What's your best advice, Sarge?
Do your research. Know what you're getting yourself into. Talk to some officers that are already on the job. Talk to officers that are in different units, because everybody's perspective is going to be different. And if it's something you really want to do, follow your dream. Put the application in. We also have a great auxiliary program. And that is sort of, I don't want to say a stepping stone, but it gives you insight and it allows you to get back to your community, because we want people that volunteer and do things within their community. It's not just about, well, I want this job because it pays well or whatever you're thinking, right? You have to have good intentions of doing this job. So, yeah.
We want to see people who, in terms of requirements and things you can do to be a better candidate, continuous education, continuous volunteerism and contribution to your community. You want to see people who are interested in learning, because this job is never-ending learning. Courses nonstop.
Yep, all the time.
It's an ever-changing environment. We have to learn what's going on. We have to learn laws. We have to learn about people and communities, and it's not something you just join and you coast for the rest of your career. You're constantly learning, and I like that.
And there's so many different opportunities with this job. It's not a job, it's a career.
Yes.
Right? There's so many opportunities within. So, of course, you have to do your basic road time and get to know the profession, but then you find your little niche and you move on to what suits you best. So it's pretty unique.
And some people get to rock out like as a traffic cop.
Yeah.
Some people get to find their higher calling. But some people want to be ETF, and that's cool because they have fancy pants. And then, they have other tools too, like armored vehicles. And
or marine unit. I found my niche there.
Yeah. And boats are cool. I don't want to swim, though. That's not my thing.
Search and rescue, and yes.
Divers. Like, there's so many specialties. Dogs.
Detective services.
And like you said, it's many jobs, one career.
Yeah.
And I started as an auxiliary volunteer. I had so much fun. I became a court officer because there was a hiring freeze. And then I got really comfortable, and it wasn't until 2012 I became a police officer. So 10 years ago. I've done a whole bunch of jobs, and they're all very different, and they've all given me new skills and abilities and put me in a position where I get to know stuff and do stuff utilizing all those skills on a daily basis. It's really cool. And there are so many opportunities within the police service. Parking, is another arm. We have special constable now. Tons of opportunities.
Lots of civilian opportunities.
Yeah. Big thing, though. Driving record is a huge, huge thing. If you are someone who is caught stunt driving and blowing stop signs, and don't expect to be a police officer, because respecting and following the rules is part of what you're expecting other people to do when you're enforcing those rules. So if you can't follow them, I don't think that you're a good candidate for becoming a police officer. Just saying. Now, you could change
They
the world.
will ask you. I mean, you may have a speeding ticket from 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever, and that's explainable, right? We all, at times make mistakes. And
For sure.
But be prepared to explain what your driving record is all about.
Sure. And when I say that, if you have a driving record that's bad, if you have careless driving charges, if you have stunt driving charges, and they're current, I'm not talking about when you were 16 years old and you had a really, really good idea that wasn't really a good idea. Yeah, that's not. If you've changed your life since then and you have a clean record in the last 5 years, that's very different. That's explainable. You've changed your life since then. If you are someone who is last week you got a stunt driving charge because you wanted to see how fast your car could go, and now you're applying to be a police officer, yeah, probably not a good idea. Probably going to be a short interview.
But definitely check out our hiring website.
Yes,
and look into it.
It's www.tps.ca/careers. We are hiring now. We have, what happens if someone drives without a license? Well, you're not insured and you get a ticket for driving without a license. And possibly more serious than that, because there's whatever else you did on top of that to be stopped and investigated that you would also be charged for. And I think we're going to wrap it up. I want to scroll one last time, see what we got here. And there's tons of questions. And I apologize. Many of you have not had your questions answered. And it's just because we got a lot going on here. I'm going to be on I got to be 12 minutes. I got to be ready to go on the radio because we're doing an interview about Teslas. We're talking about Teslas and auto and self-driving cars. It's a big topic. We're talking about it all the last few days. It's been constant.
Hot topic right now.
Hot topic, because Tesla's released the latest version of their beta, and it gave additional access to full self-driving. But what does that really mean? Well, if you want to tune into 6:40 a.m., the radio in Toronto, you'll hear me talking about it, and then maybe I'll post another video. But I have a video already discussing it. So with no further ado, I will say goodbye. And my wife even says, stay safe, have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Happy weekend to everybody out there. Stay safe.
If you're going to drive sober, drive safely, park legally. I got to represent our friends from parking too. And we'll be back here. We'll be back here Monday. Yeah, the 28th. It's very exciting. It's already like thinking about coming back to work before I've even gone away from work. All right, traffic song, because it's the thing I do. I hit this button and you hear a great song written and performed by a member of the Toronto Police Service, Traffic Services, CIB. It's a magical song. You should listen to the whole thing. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.